Hi there, it's me, Breadfish, and today we are going to look at the idea of being white versus whiteness. So we tend to speak a lot about this need to dismantle whiteness, and unless we kind of understand what is the difference between whiteness and being white, I think a lot of white people often hear that idea as hating white people, or this notion that white people must go. We just want to drive white people, send white people back to Europe, that kind of thing. And I don't think it's saying that. There are extreme people and spaces where those kind of things are believed. But for the most part, it's talking about this idea and this notion as whiteness as an ideology that has been lifted up, that has been raised. We saw it especially in apartheid, in the Jim Crow laws in America, and white is seen as right. White is seen as the standard. White is seen as intelligent, as capable, as trustworthy, things like that. And so when we talk about dismantling whiteness, we're talking about pulling down any kind of system or structure or area where whiteness is elevated, white is seen as better than, and everything else is seen as less than. And this is an area where you might have to do a bit of the work, do some reading, do some research. But maybe an interesting way to kind of step into this is to chat to some of your black, colored, and Indian friends and ask them, when was the last time when they were made aware of their race? Because I think the reality is that white people typically are not made aware of our race. I can live on a daily basis without ever thinking about being white, just in terms of things that I'm presented with. So I can get a bank loan. I don't need to think about being white. I can go and try and rent an apartment or a house, and my whiteness never comes into it. I can walk through a neighborhood and my whiteness will not mean that I'm regarded with suspicion or something like that. So speak to black, colored, and Indian people and ask them when were they last made aware of their race, and you are likely to find that it's pretty much every day. Race comes up as a hindrance, as a block, as something that slows them down. And for white people, generally, it is something that elevates, something that speeds things up, something that grants access. I want to read you a quote from a lady from America, and it goes like this. What sociologists have discovered about whiteness in the United States and Europe is that having white skin or being identified as white is considered normal. White people belong and are therefore entitled to certain rights, while people from other racial categories, even members of indigenous populations, are perceived and therefore treated as unusual, foreign, or exotic. And this is a quote by Nikki Lisa Cole in a piece called The Definition of Whiteness in American Society. So people from other racial categories, and often even members of indigenous populations, the people that were there first, are perceived as unusual, foreign, or exotic. And so white is seen as the norm. And so when I go to the store to get something that is called skin color, the skin color that is on it is my skin, as if white skin is the norm. And so there's a lot of dismantling that needs to be done of systems, structures, places, even mindsets where it is perceived that white is the standard, it is the norm, it's better than, and everything else is other or less than. And this is often a daily work that we have to do. And so being white is not something to be guilty or ashamed of. We can't change that. I was born white. But the notion that whiteness is better is something I can look to dismantle, bring down, remove every single day.